Combat close up. U.S. planes unload a steady rain of bombs on the last suspected hideout of Osama bin Laden. The president mocks bin Laden for hiding in a cave and says the idea this smoking gun video is a fake is preposterous. The new oil superpower may have a lot to say about how much you pay at the pump. And Eye on America. Surviving September 11th wasn't enough for this man. He's fighting back.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather reporting from CBS News headquarters in New York.
Good evening. President Bush said today it may take another day, it may take another year, but the United States will get Osama bin Laden. In Afghanistan, the general in charge of U.S. forces is reporting, and I quote, steady progress in the Battle of Tora Bora. Supported by U.S. air power, American special operations troops and Afghan tribal fighters are moving down a valley in eastern Afghanistan where bin Laden may be cornered with the last of his loyalists. Our coverage begins on the front lines where CBS's Mark Phillips reports the enemy is still putting up a stiff fight.
This ridge in the Tora Bora range of Afghanistan was not the place to be today if you were a member of what's left of the al-Qaeda network. It was bombed repeatedly and ruthlessly throughout the day. Local Afghan militia commanders say they believe several hundred al-Qaeda fighters are surrounded on the ridge. They also say they've overrun a cave where they suspect Osama bin Laden himself may have been taking refuge. But unconfirmed rumors of bin Laden's whereabouts have been rolling through these valleys like the thunder of the bombs themselves. Yet even as the B-52s continued their bombardment, on this pass one can be seen releasing its payload, the al-Qaeda resistance continued as well. We were brought to within firing range of the al-Qaeda positions, where the incoming fire showed bin Laden's cornered fighters aren't quite finished yet. In what must surely be the closing stages of at least the Afghan phase of this conflict. Sporadic blasts of al-Qaeda machine gun fire sent everyone diving for cover.
We gotta go. We're staying go.
Nothing.
Go.
Come on, guys.
The strategy still seems to be the original one, to smoke them out. These hills are also crawling with U.S. forces spotting for the bombers and presumably looking for Osama bin Laden himself, if he's still here. As dusk fell, the bombs were still falling. Al-Qaeda resistance was continuing, and Osama bin Laden was still at large, somewhere. Mark Phillips, CBS News on the Tora Bora front in Afghanistan.
More now on the fierce fighting at Tora Bora and the rest of the ongoing campaign in Afghanistan from CBS News national security correspondent David Martin. David?
Dan, somewhere between 300 and 1,000 al-Qaeda fighters, probably including Osama bin Laden, are trapped in those Tora Bora mountains, cut off from resupplies of food, water, and ammunition.
The commanders of the opposition forces are telling the U.S. al-Qaeda's last bastion should fall within 24 to 48 hours. The American commander is not willing to predict how much longer the Battle of Tora Bora will last, but he says it's only a matter of time.
We can wait longer than they can, and we'll maintain pressure on this pocket of al-Qaeda until they are ours.
American commandos are on the front lines fighting with the opposition forces, slowly but steadily advancing as the al-Qaeda fighters are forced to abandon position after position.
We have taken al-Qaeda prisoners in this fight, and yes, we have removed documents and other sort of evidentiary matters from this complex.
There is nothing they can do to stop the relentless pounding by American warplanes.
A lot of people have lost their lives in these valleys in this al-Qaeda pocket.
To the west, the Marines drove right through what was once the Taliban's main stronghold of Kandahar on their way to take control of the city's international airport. No one tried to stop them, but there is still a concern about die-hard Taliban and al-Qaeda.
We do know that there are pockets of resistance, if you will. So we are maintaining our vigilance.
The hunt for Mullah Omar is taking place in the mountains northwest of Kandahar, which is where his clan is based and where U.S. intelligence believes he is hiding. Unlike Tora Bora, U.S. planes are not bombing these mountains. Instead, they are dropping leaflets offering a reward for Omar, while American commandos press the hunt on the ground. But Frank says the trail has gone cold.
Right now, we simply don't have a good lead.
No matter when Tora Bora falls, Frank says it will take months to figure out which Taliban and al-Qaeda leaders have been killed, which have been captured, and which remain at large. Dan?
Live at the Pentagon, David Martin.